Number 10 is the Cottony fairies. Believe it or not, these fairies were so convincing, even so also Conan Doyle was convinced by them. They actually do kind of look real, don't they? But, like, just in case you didn't know, they were actually completely fake. Yeah, these two little girls ended up like saying that, like, who claimed they saw fairies actually saw them and made a way to stand them up on like these little stills. Even Arthur Conan Doyle believes them. But despite this, they still say they saw fairies. Cute story either way. Venus. Yeah, remember the mother of Cupid? In case you haven't, a lot of people were so convinced that she was real that, like, they even made several busts about her. I kind of wish she was real. She's kind of cute, isn't she? But unfortunately, like everything, Venus is completely fictional. She was actually fabricated sometime around like 1512. But many people were so convinced, like, by her existence that, like, they even convinced that Cupid, the little baby, was her son. Next is David Rice Atkinson. Now, I know what you history mazes are thinking, and yes, there really was a man who named David Rice Atkinson who took over one day for, like, when President Zachary Taylor couldn't take over it. But here's complimentary to even what it says on his tombstone. Atkinson was not even president for one day. Yeah, how does this work? Well, according to the logic, like, you have to be sworn in, right? Well, the thing is, like, he was never sworn in, and, like, but the same thing can't apply to Taylor, so therefore he just remains nothing as an underrated vice president. Pretty cool sense of style. Next is Bill Haley. Yeah, when a lot of people, you remember that one song you always heard at the end of Happy Days? I mean, at the beginning of that Sidney Poitier movie, everybody forgets. Well, this is him. And although, like, many fables about him aren't true, his real name actually was Jocko Boudin, and like the entire name of the band was, of course, named after Haley in the comics. Interesting name enough, though, right? Some people actually think he looks like Bill Monroe. Why, I don't know. Next up is King Arthur. It's difficult to know for sure. Many people think he was like one of the greatest men of all times, pulling like the sword out of the stone, Excalibur, and knowing him for like being Guinevere's lover as well, and then Lancelot's enemy. Only